I always tell my clientele, for every challenge, there is a solution. And for that specific challenge, I was their solution.
Welcome back to the Cashflow Podcast, the podcast where we talk about turning properties into profits. I'm your host, Jayson Yoss. And before we get to my special guest, I want to take a second to thank our sponsors. Daniel's Plumbing, servicing San Diego, Orange County, and the entire Inland Empire, as well as Rainforest Plumbing, Heating, and Air, servicing all of Maricopa County, which is Phoenix and beyond. Without their support, we couldn't do this. Thank you, guys. Now, to my special guest, a man that is an amazing social media expert, wonderful at real estate. He's been doing this for just over 5 years, Mr. Wally Dally. Wally.
I'll correct you, Jayson, less than 5 years.
Less than 5 years. His success is in such a short time. Somebody I've wanted to have on for a while, not
Thank
just
you.
for your fire on social media, but all the transactions and the stories we're about to get into.
Thank you, Jayson, for having me here.
Absolutely. So Wally Dally, Palisade Realty, under 5 years in the business. You could be doing anything, like anything. You could be doing commercial, hotels, apartments. Why are you in residential real estate? What has brought you to this, dragged you to this specific niche?
Dealing with people, I feel like I'm the perfect match for them.
Right.
Just the problem solving that goes behind it all. A lot of puzzles that I just get, the opportunity to put together.
Right. Do you think that hand holding is something that brings out the best in the Wally Dally experience?
Absolutely. Just because I love to educate first,
right,
before transacting.
When you were getting into the industry, did you seek out mentorship or guidance, or was it just one of those like, hey, I've got enough life experience, let me at it?
Actually, I had zero experience in the real estate world when I sold my liquor store, which we will talk about a little bit. But when I invested into the condo, that specific realtor had told me, you just need to do real estate.
Right.
And whatever we just did for you, you just do it for others.
Right.
And then along the way, yes, I had hired a sales coach at that time, connected me with, industry leaders, and then just jumped right into it.
You have an infectious personality. I mean,
I know.
I absolutely. But before I go farther, though, sold a liquor store. Like, just give me a snippet of how you decided, like, I'm going to exit this industry and I'm going to go to this industry.
So I feel like at this point, I'm a jack of all trades, just because even though I'm 30 years old, my family and I bought the liquor store when I was 21, and I signed the liquor license at 21.
Right.
So with that, it was back in 2017, and 3 years of trying to make it happen for my family and I just discovered, I was a student at SDSU studying business administration. So I had already learned marketing, some business fundamentals. I just thought, it would be best if I leave that damn environment and go into something a little bit more professional. And that's where I sold the liquor store to the neighbor. I technically flipped the liquor store, meaning made it more pretty, and I increased the volume and the sales, and I handed it over to the neighbor because I was their direct competitor.
Really?
So now I was out of the picture. I took the proceeds and invested it into the condo that same year of 2020. And here we are today.
Is there, and just before we segue out of it, is there any similarities between running a liquor store and running a successful real estate practice?
You're your own boss, and I love being my own boss.
Fair enough. Fair enough. When you talk about, taking care of clients and hand-holding, is there a real estate philosophy that you subscribe to servicing your clients in your business?
Definitely, just because I feel like when I was purchasing the property, I go back to that because it was an experience.
Right.
And I want to give them the Wally Dally experience.
Absolutely. Do you have a mantra that, you've taken from that experience is like, hey, you've got to do this?
Definitely look at all your options. And this is where the education first comes into play. Just because even though, that agent provided me the guidance of buying my first property, I believe she could have done a little bit better.
Right.
Because there was definitely bumpy roads after closing the transaction. And I believe that's where I fine-tuned what she did for me and then kind of made it my way throughout the years, of course.
Do you, and using that, let's talk about the Wally Dally experience in form of case study. I know you've got a ton of transactions.
Yes.
One of the most busy and successful agents, just basically carrying everything on your shoulders. Talk to me about a transaction that stands out. Okay, one of those that you're like, hey, this is what it takes.
So the one that definitely was the one that just stands out from all of them, 140 to date, right? Today I'm closing 2.
Yes.
So it'll be 142 tomorrow.
Congrats. Congratulations.
Thank you. So one of that really stands out was my Escondido listing. Right. I signed the listing March of 2025, and I am not ashamed that it took 376 days from list to sold.
To close. Amazing.
And that was definitely a roller coaster with multiple hoops. I hate roller coasters, but this was definitely something that I personally just kept, my faith. I just told the client, be patient, trust the process, because at the end of the day, they were a divorce sale, which was my first divorce listing. And at the end of the day, it was chapters for them. They wanted to close the chapters to start their new chapters. For me, it was, again, a challenge. And I always tell my clientele, for every challenge, there is a solution. And for that specific challenge, I was their solution. The guidance, the strategy, pricing the property. We had to, when we listed it originally in March, I'll give you a little detail. It was original condition. Okay. And there was a lot of lack of maintenance in the property. They wanted to list the property at $889,000 because their neighborhood was going for that amount. And even after explaining to them that condition is one of the factors that sells real estate, they were in denial, which is totally okay. Right. We went on the market, did the whole shebang of open houses, private tours. And because it was a divorce sale, they had a large dog. I don't even know what breed it is. However, his name was Canelo. And Canelo was very friendly. However, at the end of the day, with a property that's owner occupied with pets, it becomes very challenging to provide, private tours, showings, etc. So with that, after 3 months, I told them that we need to do a price reduction. And they did not agree. I told them, no problem. Okay. We will be removing the property off of the market, and we will be fixing the property presence. Right. Green carpets and blue carpets will not sell the damn thing.
Do you think that it's, when you talk about education, being able to interject hey, you don't want to do this, let's look at this solution, is what actually drives your success?
So how I explain that is logic versus emotion.
Perfect.
So let's think logically and not so much with our emotion, because when you are thinking with emotion, you make the wrong decisions.
Fair enough.
And this is how I kind of tailor to every scenario differently. And for this one, yes, after removing it off of the market, withdrawing the listing, they spent around $30,000 with interior paint, new flooring, updated the kitchen. I rehired a photographer. Right. There is costs that actually come from selling real estate, upfront costs for a listing agent, and redoing the photos, doing showcase on Zillow. At the end of the day, even with that, it did not sell at $875, which was the new list price.
Okay.
We went under contract for $850 in December of last year. Buyer walked away after doing their inspection because there was still more issues with the property. And long story short, it's a long story, but in February, we did another price reduction to $840. And that's when we landed a buyer, which that was another roller coaster.
Really? How many roller coasters can we have in one transaction?
You know what? It became like a Six Flags amusement park. And at the end of the day, I'm still grateful that we got it to the finish line. But, just because someone is pre-approved or pre-qualified doesn't mean shit. At the end of the day, that lender dropped the ball because they were no longer qualified with the new interest rates.
Okay.
So I, connected the buyer's agent with another lender that's phenomenal. And they definitely took the bumpy roads and all of that stuff with creative financing, of course.
Right.
And we closed the bitch.
What? It's such a recurring theme.
That's how I
It's
feel.
such a recurring theme here. At 370 days on the market, that's closing the bitch. It's a recurring theme, like problem, Wally Dally solution, we move forward. In hindsight, though, day one, if you could sit them down and say, it could be 370 days, let's do X. Is it price? Is it remodeling? Is it everything? Is it let's move out of the house, let's take the dog out? Like what would be the go back and start over? Here's the first piece of advice you give them.
It's very difficult and challenging to trust somebody.
Yeah, it is, huh?
Especially with an asset, a house.
Yeah.
So I had already scored the husband's trust. It was the wife's trust that I was still basically interviewing for. Because at the end of the day, I'm not Hispanic.
Okay.
I'm Chaldean. So she spoke Spanish. And at the end of the day, she spoke English as well. But I feel like some people want to work with their people.
Right.
So I always tell people, if I'm not the right agent for you, you're missing out.
It's actually a you problem. I am the right agent across the board. That's good. That's a good one, Molly. Talk to me about we haven't talked about, but you brought it up, and I wanna highlight it. You've been in all kinds of transactions and experiences.
Yes.
You've been in anything lately that has maybe made you think like, whoa, that was a little bit too close for comfort?
So yesterday, I signed a listing agreement, and unfortunately, it's not funny because some people are maybe going through a mental breakdown.
Sure.
When I was called by the mother, and she said, the fire department is at the house. Can you please just stop by and see if my property is on fire? And I left the office around 7:45 p.m. and I drove to the listing.
What neighborhood or area?
Santee.
Santee.
Please
okay.
avoid Santee. I'm just kidding. So I got there. It was around 8:10 p.m. and I see the daughter. She's basically loading up her vehicle. And I approached her and I said, hey, your mother just called me. I'm just here to check in, how everything's going. And she rambles off all of this information that I don't know what to do with.
Right.
And she ended it with, if you come closer to me, I will shoot you. So that was definitely, I still get the goosebumps because it's very interesting what industry we live in.
Yeah.
Because it is not safe. And at the end of the day, I didn't turn my back and walk to the car. I just went back.
Backpedal nice and easy.
Backpedaling.
You know what?
I just legit got into the vehicle and I just left the scene. And, I spoke with my broker and my agent partner. And, of course, everyone's safe, but we suggested the mother to call 911. Just because I feel like, maybe her daughter is in danger and, of course, the neighbors, etc.
Right.
So that was definitely a moment that definitely when I got home, I was very grateful just to like, what the fuck did I just experience?
Yeah.
Because even though it was maybe just a verbal threat, it could have also been a legit threat.
Yeah.
And we don't want to go in those because Wally Dally cannot be taken down by a bullet.
Wally Dally isn't losing. No listing is going to affect Wally Dally, especially getting shot. You're right, mental health. And we hear it in a lot of different phases, but people forget that we are in someone's home, which is one of the most sacred places, and that's also where breakdown does happen.
Exactly.
In the end of the day, we do deal with we are reality TV. I get that. Are you able to, put something like that aside, compartmentalize it, and get back into like, hey, this is what my job is, my profession, or do you reflect and go like, do I have a family? Like, should I be in this situation?
Oh, definitely the first option because again, these are all challenges and I was hired because I'm the fucking solution.
I have solutions to it. I'd love this recurring theme. Challenges, solutions. Talk to me about then. There's a war going on. The market is, crazy soft, but there are deals going on for those who know what they're doing. What are some of the biggest challenges that you see in your daily work?
None. And I'll explain.
No obstacle too big.
I just believe it's just easy to blame anything, especially in today's world. Am I still selling real estate? Abso-fucking-lutely. Right. And I believe there's other agents still selling real estate. And Ricky Carruth always says, a deal is always happening every fucking day. And I look up to that guy because, at the end of the day, he's right. People die, people get divorces, people make, new babies and people need to upgrade. There's just so much going on. I feel like lazy agents are the ones that just blame the fucking market, blame the political issues, blame the war, whatever it could be. At the end of the day, we are here for a reason, and it's to educate and bring solutions to the consumer. Because at the end of the day, we can talk about affordability and we can talk about limited inventory. All of that is bullshit. Sorry, but not sorry.
Again, the theme, Wally Dally, is give me the obstacle, give me the problem, and I will help present the solution.
Absolutely.
And again, our clients need that both on the listing side
and the buying side.
And on the buying side, what are you telling your buyers right now when they come to you and they know that the Wally Dally experience is right for them? What are you telling them? Setting expectations. We're going to do this. We're going to see that. Like what? How are you setting them up for success?
What's important to you? Because my solution will be tailored to that. Why work harder when you can work smarter?
Yeah, it makes sense. Do you think at the end of the day, there is going to be a time when Wally Dally has an entire band with him? Like, are you thinking about bringing on agents? Do you want a whole team? Or do you like being the master of your own domain and you're only accountable to you as your own boss? Like, what do you prefer and what do you see the outlook being?
I've tried it before where I had the 6-7 agents and it was cool. It was flashy. Fuck that shit. Because it becomes a babysitting job. And with all due respect, I started there as a brand new fucking agent.
Yeah.
But then I implemented what was provided.
Right.
And if I provide you with education and training material and opportunities, if you do not want to implement, I can't want it more than you.
You find that they just don't put their why out front and do the work?
Even if they have a why, they're just not committed.
Fair enough. And it makes total sense. Social media. Your social media is on fire. It's every day. I see it out there. It's huge. How is it affecting your work? How did you decide to get into it? Have you always been, selfie up? I mean, talk to me about that, especially because, again, other agents, you want to see how it's done? See, here's a blueprint.
So that's another thing, right? When I first started, I didn't really post much. And it was my high school friends, colleagues from work.
Right.
Those were my followers. At the end of the day, it's not even about that. It was really about documenting my day.
Right.
I was told to do that. He's not a mentor. He's just another colleague in the industry. And I fucking implemented it. So at the end of the day, you tell me XYZ, Wally will do XYZ. Right. And I'm not robot. I'm not a robot, even though I get it, Wally, whatever. But it's really about implementation. And then when you start to see the success from the implementation, now I believe in my product. Right. So if I believe in my own product, it's going to be easier to sell it. Right? 100%. And that's the thing with a lot of agents. They know what needs to be done. They just don't want to fucking do it.
That is the theme for everybody. They know what needs to be done. They just don't want to take the time to do it. Last two questions. The first one is, look, we're in an industry, especially you as a successful agent. People are always coming to you, asking you, let me be your lender. Let me be this. Like, what are you telling all those affiliates when they come to you and want a piece of Wally Dally, a piece of some of your success? What are you telling them? If you want to earn my business, you need to do what?
Earn it.
What does that mean, though?
You need to earn it. So I love the idea because I'm a business owner. I'm not just a realtor or a door opener. You need to basically, it's a reciprocating relationship.
Right.
How can you help me, help you,
right.
help us grow together?
I love it. And I think that there's nothing better than saying, like, help me help you.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's not about paying for my coffee.
Yeah, right.
Paying for dinner, whatever else.
It's
right. Not about materialistic things. I got the fucking money to do that for myself.
Right.
But help me grow my business.
Right.
Right. And then that's how I will trust. That's another thing too. A lot of people that have asked for business and I've given them the opportunity and they failed me. You got to remember something. I work too hard to get where I'm at. I can't just trust anybody anymore.
I love it. Preach. I'm going to leave you with one final question. I think this is super important for that young agent, that young hustler who wants to get there. Okay. If I put you in the time machine, if I put Wally Dally back to day one, got your license May 14th, okay? My birthday, by the way. And I got you out there and you were able to give baby Wally one piece of advice to set you on your career, what would it be?
Interview better.
In what way?
So I'm the prize, right? However, you need to go through stages in this industry, but a shortcut would be interview better because you're actually hiring. You're being hired. You are hiring the brokerage.
Right.
And then you need to ask more questions.
Right.
Because again, it goes back to the reciprocating business relationship. How are you going to help me so I can help you for us to help each other grow?
Huge takeaway there because a lot of people join teams that don't support them, especially in the beginning. Mm-hmm. They take 5 years just to find where they need to be the brokerage that actually supports them and helps them grow their business. So great feedback on that, especially for young agents. Wally Dally. Absolutely amazing to have you in here. Probably
Thank
one
you.
of the most, like I said, infectious personality, one of the best characters in real estate who isn't just a social media presence, but is a transaction agent and a force. I love it.
Thank you.
I love to watch your business climb. For everybody else, thank you for tuning into the Cashflow Podcast, the podcast where we talk about turning properties into profits. I'm your host, Jayson Yoss. We will see you next week. Thank you.